4.8 million years ago, the skies were not safe. Imagine a world where shadows with wings could steal life in an instant, where early humans, fragile and few, faced a predator not on the ground, but from the heavens. This is the story of the giant eagle, a battle that would decide not just survival, but the very dawn of humanity. Long before cities, long before fire shaped the night, early humans walked the vast African savannas, their lives balanced between survival and extinction. But danger did not always come from the ground. From above, a predator ruled with piercing eyes and mighty wings. The giant eagle. Tonight, we step back millions of years into a world where humanity's courage was tested by the sky itself, and only unity could tip the scale between life and death. The African savanna stretched wide beneath the burning sun, golden grasses swaying in the warm breeze. For early humans, life here was both beautiful and dangerous. Herds of antelope thundered across the plains, lions prowled in the distance, and crocodiles lurked by the rivers. But above, in the endless blue of the sky, another danger watched. It was a giant eagle larger than any bird alive today. Its wings stretched wider than the height of a man. Its shadow swept across the land like a dark omen. Where it circled, silence followed. Even the brave hunters of the tribe felt unease when its piercing cry split the air. The tribe of Homo habilis had been traveling for days. They carried children on their backs, gathered fruits and roots, and followed the rivers for water. They were survivors, yet they were small in a world filled with giants. Still, they had something unique. Around their fires, they shared food, laughter, and trust. One afternoon, as the sun dipped lower, the group rested by a shallow river. Children splashed in the water while the hunters sharpened spears. For a brief moment, life felt safe. The sound of laughter echoed across the savannah, blending with the soft rustle of the grass. But high above, sharp eyes watched. The eagle circled silently. From such a height, it could see every movement below. Its vision cut through distance, the way fire cuts through night. A child, small and separated from the group, caught its attention. With a sudden tilt of its wings, the predator folded into a dive. The air split with a rush of feathers. Shadows raced across the ground. By the time the tribe looked up, the eagle was already upon them. A scream rang out as the giant bird struck. Its talons wrapped around the child, lifting with terrifying power. Dust swirled as wings beat against the earth. Hunters shouted and threw stones, but the eagle was too fast, too strong. In moments, it soared back into the sky, its prize clutched tight. The tribe stood frozen. The air that had been filled with laughter now held only silence and fear. Mothers wept. Fathers beat their chests in despair. The children huddled close, wide-eyed and trembling. That night, no one slept. The fire burned low, and the people sat close together, whispering. It took him. One voice broke the silence. From the sky, another answered. If it can take one, it can take more, an elder murmured. Every eye turned upward. The stars twinkled, but above them all, in the blackness, they imagined wings circling, waiting. The tribe felt powerless. On Tigran they could fight lions, chase hyenas, even defend against crocodiles. But against this ruler of the skies, what could they do? Spears could not reach that high. Stones could not bring it down. For the first time, they realized their greatest danger did not come from the land but from above. Yet, hidden beneath the grief and fear, something began to stir. The hunters who had thrown stones and spears had seen something important. The eagle had dodged, but not without effort. Its wings had shuddered. Its movements slowed. For a fleeting moment, Te-Achin, it was not untouchable. Around the fire, the tribe's leader raised his hand. His voice was low but steady. This creature is strong, but it bleeds. If it bleeds, it can be defeated. The tribe listened in silence. No one believed fully yet, but the seed was planted. The great eagle was mighty. Yes, but not immortal. The next morning, the savannah was quiet. The tribe of Homo habilis sat huddled together, still shaken by the loss of the child. The night had been long, filled with whispered fears and restless dreams. Now, as the sun rose, the shadows of the tall grasses seemed longer, heavier. The children no longer laughed as freely. They clung to their mothers, their wide eyes darting nervously toward the sky. Every shadow of a vulture, every sweep of a cloud, made their hearts jump. Even the hunters' strong and brave men looked up more often than forward. Yet amid the grief, a determination had taken root. The leader of the tribe had spoken. If it bleeds, it can be defeated. These words echoed through every heart. That day, the hunters gathered. Te Werefeu, only 6 men and 3 women, strong enough to wield spears. Each one bore the marks of a hard life. Scars on their arms, calloused hands, eyes that had seen both death and survival. The leader stood tall before them. He pointed to the sky. The eagle is mighty, but not untouchable. It comes for the weak, for the young. But if we prepare, if we stand together, we can drive it back. The hunters nodded, though uncertainty still lingered. How could their wooden spears strike something that ruled the air? But doubt was weaker than fear, and fear was weaker than hope. That evening, as the sun lowered, they set their plan in motion. The hunters spread out across the clearing. The mothers and children stayed near the center, where the fire burned. Stones were piled high in baskets, ready to be thrown. Spears were sharpened until their tips gleamed in the fading light. The sky darkened with twilight. The wind grew still. Everyone waited. And then it came. The eagle's cry shattered the silence. Wings spread wide. It descended like a shadow given life. The people gasped. Mothers clutched children closer. The hunters gripped their spears tighter. With terrifying speed, the eagle swooped down. Its target was another child, standing too far from the fire. But this time, the tribe was ready. A hunter shouted, hurling a stone upward. It struck the eagle's wing, not enough to wound, but enough to shock. The great bird staggered, its flight wobbling for a moment. Another hunter threw a spear. It sliced through the air, missing by inches, but forcing the predator to veer sharply away. The tribe erupted into action. Shouts filled the night. Stones flew. Spears soared. Firelight flashed against feathers as the bird wheeled above, screaming in anger. For the first time, the eagle felt resistance. It circled higher, out of reach, watching the humans below. Its golden eyes blazed with fury. It had come to take, to dominate, to show its power. Instead, it had been challenged. Below, the tribe gathered closer around the fire. Their breaths were heavy, their arms sore from throwing, but their hearts were beating faster, stronger. They had faced the shadow from the skies and survived. The eagle circled once more, then with a cry that echoed across the savannah, it pulled away. Its dark form disappeared into the night, leaving only silence in its wake. The people stood frozen. Then, slowly, whispers spread. We made it flee. It did not take one of us this time. We fought and it feared us. That night, around the fire, Ope returned. The children laughed again, talked softly. The mothers sang lullabies to calm their little ones. The hunters, though weary, spoke of what they had seen. The way the eagle had dodged, the way it had faltered when struck. It can be defeated, the leader repeated, his voice steady. But we must be smarter, stronger. Ready? The tribe nodded. Fear still lived among them, but so did courage. From that day forward, the tribe changed. They no longer traveled without watching the skies. Hunters practiced throwing spears higher, aiming at tree branches, testing their strength against the wind. Children were kept closer, never far from the safety of the group. Fires were lit not only for warmth but for defense, their smoke rising as a warning. The eagle had not been destroyed, but it had been resisted. And in that resistance, the humans found something greater than survival. They found unity. But deep in the wilderness, the eagle waited. Its hunger was not gone. Its pride was wounded, and it would return. The tribe knew this. They could feel it in the stillness of the night, in the way the stars shone, cold and distant. This battle was not over. It had only begun.
Days passed. The savannah seemed calmer, though no one in the tribe believed it would last. The great eagle had retreated, but its shadow still lived in their minds. Each dawn, mothers looked anxiously at the horizon. Each dusk, hunters sharpened their spears again, preparing for what they all knew. The eagle would return, and return it did. The first sign came not with a cry, but with silence. The usual chatter of birds fell quiet. The antelopes grazing nearby suddenly raised their heads, ears twitching, eyes wide. The wind stilled, and the air itself seemed to hold its breath. Then, from the clouds, the eagle descended. Larger, fiercer, more determined than before. Its golden eyes burned with hunger and vengeance. This was not a simple hunt. It was a battle to reclaim its dominance. The tribe froze, but this time they were not unprepared. The leader barked commands. "Stay close to the fire! Do not scatter! Throw together!" The hunters formed a circle around the women and children. Spears were lifted, stones gripped tightly in hand. The fire crackled, smoke rising high into the twilight. The eagle dived, wings slicing through the air like blades. Its shadow raced across the grass, swallowing the humans in darkness. At the last second, the hunters launched a volley of stones. One struck the eagle's chest, another clipped its wing. It cried out, furious, and swerved sharply, just missing its target. Dust exploded as its talons scraped the ground, leaving marks deep in the earth. The children screamed, but the circle held firm. The eagle circled higher, watching, calculating. This was no ordinary prey. It could sense the unity, the resistance. Yet hunger and pride drove it forward. With a shriek, it dived again, this time faster, lower, more precise. The tribe shouted, their voices rising together, a wall of sound to challenge the predator. Spears flew upward like lightning. One spear grazed the eagle's side, tearing a feather loose. The bird jerked, startled. For the first time in its reign, it felt the sting of human weapons. It did not retreat immediately. Instead, it hovered above, wings outstretched, defiant. Its shadow covered the campfire, plunging the clearing into darkness. The leader raised his spear high. His voice carried over the savannah. "This is our home. You will not take us again." The tribe echoed his words with shouts of courage. Stones rained upward, forcing the eagle to climb higher, higher until it vanished into the night sky. The silence that followed was heavy, yet different. No longer the silence of fear, but of triumph. The tribe had not killed the eagle, but they had wounded its pride, shaken its confidence. And in that moment, the people discovered something new. They could fight the sky itself. That night, the fire burned brighter than ever. Sparks drifted into the heavens as if carrying a message. Humanity was rising. But even in victory, unease lingered. The eagle had not been defeated. It would return, stronger, perhaps with new tactics. The tribe could feel it in the cool wind, in the restless stirrings of the animals. They had survived 2 battles. The third would decide much more.
The savannah glowed beneath the evening sun. Golden light bathed the tall grass. But for the tribe, beauty no longer meant safety. They had learned a truth written deep into survival. The great eagle would return, again and again, until it claimed victory or was stopped forever. The leader gathered the hunters at dawn. His voice was steady, his eyes sharp. "This battle will not end unless we end it. The eagle hunts us. It has taken from us. Now we hunt it." The words hung heavy in the morning air. To hunt a beast of the sky seemed impossible. But the tribe had already fought it twice and survived. They had felt its weakness. They had seen its fear. Now, for the first time, humans turned from prey into hunters. The plan was simple, but bold. They would build traps logs, sharpened into spikes, vines woven into nets, stones prepared to rain from above. The clearing near the river would be the battlefield. Fire would be their shield, spears their arrows, unity their greatest weapon. For days, they worked together. Men, women, even the children gathered branches and vines. The logs were buried deep in the ground, angled toward the sky. Nets were hidden beneath grass, ready to be pulled tight. Stones were piled high near the fire, each chosen carefully for weight and smoothness. Every task was a piece of survival. Every hand carried purpose. At night, they did not laugh. They whispered only of what was to come. The children huddled close to their mothers. The hunters sharpened their spears until sparks lit the darkness. And when sleep finally came, dreams were haunted by wings that blocked out the sun. The day of reckoning arrived. The air was still, heavy. The savannah seemed to wait with the tribe. Then, as if summoned by their fear and courage, the eagle appeared. It soared high at first, its wings vast against the glowing sky. Then it circled lower, lower, until its golden eyes locked onto the clearing. The trap was set. The hunters tightened their grips on the vines. Mothers pulled the children close to the fire. The leader raised his spear and whispered. Together, the eagle dived. Its scream split the air, talons stretched wide, wings folding into a deadly strike. But this time the tribe did not scatter. They stood their ground. Now, shouted the leader. The vines snapped tight. Nets shot upward, entangling one of the eagle's wings. It shrieked, thrashing violently. Dust and feathers filled the air. Hunters hurled spears with all their strength. Stones rained down, striking its back, its chest, its wings. The eagle fought with fury, its talons slashed, tearing at the earth. With a powerful beat of its wings, it ripped free of one net, sending hunters tumbling. The ground shook as it slammed into the logs, snapping some in half, but others pierced deep into its feathers, slowing it. The battle raged, man against sky. Smoke from the fires stung its eyes. Spears cut the air. The tribe shouted as one, their voices like thunder against the storm of wings. At last, the leader himself stepped forward. His spear glinted in the firelight. He raised it high, then hurled it with every ounce of strength. The weapon struck true. The eagle faltered, wings trembling. It tried to rise, but its strength was broken. With one final cry that echoed across the plains, the predator collapsed into the tall grass. The savannah fell silent. For a long moment, no one moved. Then slowly, the tribe stepped closer. Mothers held their children. Hunters lowered their weapons. They had done the impossible. They had defeated the shadow of the skies. The leader raised his hands to the heavens. His voice rang out, strong and clear. We are not prey. We are survivors. The tribe echoed his cry. Sparks from the fire rose into the darkening sky, like stars born from their triumph. Humanity had taken its first true victory, not just against a beast, but against fear itself. This was more than survival. This was the dawn of something greater. The night after the great battle was unlike any other. The fire in the center of the tribe burned brighter, not from the wood alone, but from the spirit of victory that lived in every heart. Children danced in circles, their laughter chasing away the shadows. Hunters sat tall, their faces marked not with fear, but with pride. For the first time, humanity had not only survived a predator, it had defeated one. The eagle's fallen body lay beyond the clearing, covered by grass and silence. No one dared to disturb it. To the tribe, it was more than just a creature. It was a symbol of the old world where humans were always prey. Now, that world was changing. The leader stood before the fire, his voice calm but powerful. Tonight, we remember those we lost. But tonight, we also celebrate. We have shown that together, we are stronger than the sky, stronger than fear. From this night forward, no shadow will make us hide. The people answered with a cry that carried into the stars. But the victory was not only in strength. Around the fire, something deeper was born. Mothers told their children the story of the battle not as terror, but as legend. Hunters carved images into stone. Wings spread wide, spears raised high, fire burning bright. A memory was becoming history. History was becoming story, and story would become the thread that tied generations together. In the days that followed, life in the savannah seemed different. When the tribe walked across the tall grass, They no longer looked only to the sky in fear. They looked to the horizon with vision. They began to imagine futures where their children could thrive, not just survive. They sharpened their tools not only for hunting, but for building. They wove vines not only into nets, but into shelters stronger than before. They lit fires not only for warmth, but to mark their place in the world. The eagle had been a predator, but its fall gave humanity something greater than safety. It gave them belief. The leader often sat by the river in silence. He would gaze into the water, watching his reflection flicker with the firelight. He knew the world was still full of dangers. Saber-toothed cats, crocodiles, storms, famine. But he also knew the tribe had crossed a line. They had proven to themselves that no creature, no force of nature, would forever hold them in fear. One evening, he gathered the tribe again. The firelight painted their faces in gold and shadow. He spoke slowly, so every word would settle in their bones. Once, we were hunted. Now, we stand. Once, we feared the dark. Now, we light the night. Once, we were prey. Now, we are people. His words were not shouted, yet they echoed like thunder in their hearts. From that night on, a new rhythm guided the tribe. They shared food more freely. They taught the young with patience, and they planned together for the seasons ahead. They were no longer just a group of survivors. They were the beginning of something greater. Around the fire, children repeated the chants of courage. Mothers told stories of the eagle's fall. Hunters trained not just in strength, but in unity. And slowly, something invisible but powerful grew. Identity. The savannah, once a place of constant fear, became the first canvas of human triumph. Generations later, the story of the eagle would still be told, carved on stones, whispered under the stars, sung by firelight. It became more than a memory. It became the first spark of culture, the first myth, the first legend of humanity. And so, on that golden plain, under the endless sky, humankind stepped forward not just as survivors of the earth, but as dreamers of the future. The dawn of humanity had begun.